are investigating with the legal department the terms of our collective agreement and General Motors violating the agreement they made with us in 2016. So are we looking at all of our legal options? The answer is yes.
You put on the strongest campaign, much more so than the UAW has in the States. This is where you are today. So does this send the same message that if you can't be successful, no one is going to be successful against General Motors? Is that the message today?
The message to General Motors today is we're not going anywhere. We didn't make our argument or start our fight back campaign at the end of November to accept the closure of our Oshawa facilities as inevitable, because we're not there. The reality is General Motors is going to have to find a solution to keep our Oshawa plant going. That's the only acceptable solution as we stand here today. If General Motors will close our plant when they have made $6 billion in the first 9 months of this year, and if they will close our Oshawa facilities when there have been more sales in the North American market than in the history of sales, then no auto worker in this country, or frankly in the United States, should feel comfortable. So this is General Motors saying to Canadian workers and American workers, Canadian and American consumers, that it's about profits, it's about Wall Street, and it's about the fact that they expect that Canadian and American consumers will be docile in support of them as a corporation, regardless of the negative impact they have on our nations. And I'm suggesting to you, Canadians and American consumers are not docile.
Now, GM has come out in response to your proposals and said that it would increase their costs incrementally, substantially over the next number of years, and also reduce their competitive advantage. Can you go into detail more about your proposals and what you were trying to do?
First of all, General Motors can continue to build the existing vehicles that we're building today in Oshawa. It won't cost them a dime, and they acknowledge that today. So if they intend on honoring the collective agreement, which keeps our facilities open until September of 2020, it's an easy decision. It doesn't cost them a dime because they've already made that investment. But when General Motors says that they are doing this as they transition to autonomous and electric vehicles, we know that's completely disingenuous, because we know the electric vehicle market is less than 2% of the North American market. But the predicament we're in today is a conscious decision by General Motors. Because for the last 20 years, there's been a shift from cars to SUVs, crossovers, and pickup trucks. So this is nothing new. So General Motors has been preparing for today. So the fact that they will argue that it will cost them money to transition, I will argue the transition costs are a lot less than they spent to beef up their manufacturing footprint in Mexico. General Motors announced in 2014 they're investing $5 billion in Mexico to double the capacity. So it's awfully dishonest for them to say today that we don't have any product to allocate to the Oshawa facilities, when all the volumes from the pickup trucks that we used to build in Oshawa went to Mexico. The Equinox that we build in Cami today and that we also built in Oshawa is now being built in 2 assembly plants in Mexico. The Terrain, which we built in Ingersoll, is now being built in Mexico. I can start to walk through the conscious decisions that General Motors made. But one thing I also do understand is the cost of keeping the Oshawa complex alive is not excessive. Why? Because General Motors just invested over $500 million in the last couple of years to turn the Oshawa facilities into the only plant in North America, regardless of the company, that can build both cars and pickup trucks. And if the market today is about crossovers, SUVs, and pickup trucks, that plant is the best position to supplement all of General Motors' requirements. It's a question of choice. And General Motors has made the decision that they would rather pay their employees $2 an hour in Mexico than pay their Canadian employees a decent wage. So it's a simple question of choices.